everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Earth Week. We're halfway through it. So we're going to continue on with our discussions of Leave No Trace. Today we're going to talk about...
3, waste management. And then 4, leave what you find.
So we'll start with Ariane. She's going to go ahead and talk to you guys about waste management.
Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. It is Earth Day. I know we're celebrating Earth Week this whole week. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the third LNT principle, which is dispose of waste properly. So this principle applies to everything from litter to human waste to rinsing water. So the most important thing that we can do is pack it in and pack it out. So the thought is to try to leave as little impact as possible. So whenever you bring something into the field, you're trying to take that out. So always having like a bag or something that you can store things in whenever you go somewhere. And that way you can pack it out without saying like, oh, like I don't have anywhere to place my trash. So one of the hugest things that we have of waste is human waste. So we're trying to dispose of human waste either in a bathroom or a latrine, like an outhouse, if possible. And if that isn't possible, then you're trying to dispose of human waste in cat holes. Now, what is a cat hole? A cat hole is a hole that you dig in the ground, either if you have a little shovel or maybe you can just use your foot. You're trying to dig a hole that's about 6 to 8 inches deep and 4 to 6 inches wide. My hand, I did measure, is about 7 inches. So you're trying to dig a hole the length of your hand deep and about the length of your hand wide. So you're just trying to make a little box. And then once you are done, you're trying to cover up the cat hole, disguising it when you're done. Something that's super important when you're digging a cat hole or whenever you're doing anything in the backcountry is you're trying to go at least 200 feet from either water, the trail, or camp. So 200 feet, to remember, is about 70 paces. So a bit of a distance between you and the place that you're trying to not have an impact on. Some highly impacted areas like some base camps or riverside campsites or the Grand Canyon actually do require you to pack out the human waste as well. So you can't even dig a cat hole or anything like that. And if you're not 100% sure what you should do or what they have, if they have latrines or anything like that, you can always call the local land management agency and they can advise you what you should be doing when you go visit that area. So when you do have human waste, we usually use toilet paper, and using toilet paper is okay, but try to use it sparingly. And use only plain white non-perfume brands if possible. And how to dispose of it if you can. With the cat hole that you've dug, you're trying to put it inside the cat hole, and then when you cover it completely so nothing is showing whatsoever. And then if you can't do that, or if you feel like that is too much of a waste for you, try to just take it out. Get a plastic bag, put it in the plastic bag when you are done, and then take that plastic bag out and throw it away when you are back in the front country. Other hygiene and feminine products, they do not compose easily, so you are going to have to dispose of them not in the backcountry. So you do have to bring them home to throw them away. So they should not be placed in the cat hole or anything like that. So another waste that we have is food waste. So try to plan on having meals that avoid mess and smelly garbage. And a reminder is that half burned and buried food still attract animals. So even if you burn something in a fire, it may still attract animals. So that's not always good enough. So always trying to pack out those little scraps if possible. Water waste is also waste that we do have. So if you are washing dishes or even yourself, again, remember the 200 feet rule, so about 70 paces away from trails, camp, and water. Try to remove yourself, and then if you are washing your hands or washing dishes, try to pick up any food scraps that you might use. If you are washing a lot of dishes, using a strainer, a very small mesh strainer, to pick up all the little foods that you might actually drop on the ground. And then with those food scraps, you actually have to take those out with you. Again, we're not trying to attract animals, trying to leave the minimum impact that possible. If you are using soap to wash yourself, try to use a biodegradable soap. There is multiple out there, and if you can, try not to use soap at all, because some soaps can actually hurt the environment more than hurt it. It can hurt the environment more than help it. Again, if you are washing items, try to wash them about 200 feet from the trail, the camp, and water. And that way you're not infecting the water, you are keeping the trails clean for other visitors, and obviously you don't want anything in your camp while you are camping there, or for somebody else to come and camp there as well. And then with any other waste, including plastic bags, cigarette butts, fishing lines, other trash, bottles, anything that you can think of, food wrappers, they are harmful to the environment and they don't decompose very well. So you're going to have to take those out. So always have that plastic bag or place in your backpack that you can store all those trash. And maybe somebody else's as well. Maybe it's not just yours. Because we're trying to minimize our impact as a whole, not just yourself, but helping others as well. So that is the third principle of LNT. And then next up is Allison to talk about the fourth, which is leave what you find.
Okay, guys, so now that Ari has talked to you guys about principle number 3, waste management, I'm going to talk to you about principle number 4, which is leave what you find, i.e. take a picture of it. So the 4 become a little picture frame. This principle is really important for kind of cultivating that sense of wonder that I think a lot of people enjoy when they are participating in outdoor recreation activities. That feeling like, you were a visitor in this natural space, and that humans don't really have much of an impact in the space that you're occupying for that day or for those days. I think it's a really important part of outdoor recreation. It's a really relaxing and restorative part of outdoor recreation. And it's a culture that's it's the human's responsibility to cultivate and to keep going. So one of the ways that you can live out this principle, the easiest one is one of the easiest ones is good campsites are found, not made. So a lot of times, if you're going, car camping with the purpose of kind of day hiking around a national park, you can rent a campsite at a campground, and those campsites are pre-established, they're maintained, and the idea with those campgrounds is that, and even backcountry campsites, that you can also look up on a map and find and hike to. You can plan your trip so that your day ends at one of those established campgrounds or shelters. The idea is that we are, focusing all of our human impact on those established campsites. And I know that Ariane in our last video talked to you guys about hiking and camping on durable surfaces, and this is really, really related to that principle number 2. But I guess the idea is to concentrate all of your impact into one campsite, as opposed to kind of picking and choosing whichever campsite you want, and then having a lot more dispersed impacts. I know that for me, it's always really disheartening when I'm out on a long hike and I look, to my left, just off trail, and I can see a firing from somebody who has spent the night there, either recently or a long time ago. The idea of leave what you find is that, we want to keep the nature natural, we want to keep the wild for all the other visitors in the park, as well as for, all the other critters that are sharing that natural space with you. A big one too is, don't damage living things. I think that has huge ties to sustainability. It could be really, really tempting when you're in, a beautiful meadow full of wildflowers to go and pick a few. You say, oh, well, what's a few? I mean, there's so many here. But the idea is that, what if everybody thought that way? If that park gets 100 visitors a day and each visitor took 3 wildflowers, that's 300 wildflowers that are now depleted from this natural meadow, and that has a greater impact.
Also, people tend to kind of like copy each other. And so, if somebody sees someone doing something, they're more likely to do it again. And that happens a lot with fire rings. If somebody sets up a fire ring, then people are more likely to have fires in that fire ring again or set up their own. Um, if somebody scratches their initials into a tree, somebody else is more likely to come along the next time around and scratch their initials into the tree. And that can, kill a tree. Like, their bark is there for a purpose. It's protecting those delicate, sensitive innards. And so, realize that all of your actions will probably have an influence on people visiting the park later on. For things like taking natural objects, say you find, a really cool seashell or a really cool rock, that is a bit of a gray area because, I think that a lot of people want to have mementos that they take home from these really, really special outdoor experiences. But it's important to realize that the animals that live in that area most likely use a lot of those resources for their own purposes, for shelter, for tools, for food, whatever they need to use it. And so when you take a natural object from a natural area, you are most likely depriving some species in that area of a natural resource that they use to survive. And so it's best to leave what you find. Take a picture of something really cool, you can either take a mental picture or you can take a picture with your phone. A lot of people carry their phones around with them when they're hiking. And that will be the most sustainable, most leave no trace way to document that experience and carry that memento with you. You can also probably find a gift shop and get a memento from there that reminds you of that experience, and you can call that to mind later on as opposed to keeping something physical with you. The same goes for cultural objects. It can be really, really tempting if you find like a super cool arrowhead or a cool piece of pottery. It can be really, really tempting to take that home. But yet again, like, it's really important for that kind of continuity of that culture of wonder and discovery to keep those objects where you found them. Those objects have a really heavy, weighty cultural history and significance in that area, and it's best to leave them where they're found. So yeah, all of that kind of relates to sustainability. By leaving what you find, you're leaving whatever area that you are recreating in or enjoying trace-free, and that is a very sustainable thing to do. So keep those things in mind, and we'll catch you soon.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our Leave No Trace videos with the Tribe Adventure program.
I hope you enjoyed them.
We're really excited to be here with you guys to celebrate Earth Week, and make sure that you go and check out the other videos that are being posted, the webinars by everybody across William and Mary.
There's some really good ones, and you should go and check those out.
Yeah, let's help rep sustainability and think about ways that you can apply the Leave No Trace principles into your own life. Watch out for our video tomorrow.